Welcome to the Gruber Morning Show. This is the special Tesla Roadster podcast. I'm Pete Gruber.
I'm Mark Schaffner. Good morning. Welcome, everybody.
We have a bunch of items for you today, as usual, but the one behind us here made the headline this last week. What you're seeing here is a Lucid Air charging a Tesla Roadster, one of our customers' cars on the East Coast. And this was for an Earth Day event, I believe, to prove that the two EV brands can not only coexist, but feed each other.
I think this is a really cool thing. Now, how exactly did this charging take place since the Roadster has its own connector? Did he perhaps have a CAN Senior?
He did, yes.
Okay.
Indeed, yeah. And I believe it was a CAN Junior because it was a J1772. There's a bit more detail on Facebook, by the way, Tesla Roadster Owners Group, and you can get a little bit more of that type of detail. But the people involved here was a Tesla engineer that we've known for many years and one of the customers that owns this Thunder Gray Tesla Roadster. So pretty cool event. And there is yet another event taking place here, and I'm going to plug that as well. We can bring up the image, Jesse. I think it is called Road Rally 2. And May 11th, on the boardwalk in Ocean City, New Jersey, they apparently are going to have a bunch of EVs there, and there will be definitely one Tesla Roadster there, the same one that's being charged. And a second one, I think Foster Henderson's car is going to be there, but he did qualify it and say, if it doesn't rain. Because remember, a lot of these Roadsters don't like the rain. They don't like going out in the rain.
Well, there are a lot of these guys that have had their Roadsters long enough and have never let them go out in the rain.
Right.
So why start now?
Right, totally. So, yeah, that's May 11th. For those of you interested that are on the East Coast, it should be a good event. We've got something else occurring today, too. There is a Roadster on Bring a Trailer, yet another Roadster. And one of the pictures I saw, in fact, you can pop this one up, Jesse, it's called Missing Knob. And this is one of the common things that happens to a Tesla Roadster. On the 2.0 Roadsters, on the 1.5s, I'm sorry, on the left side there, you can see this particular one is missing the knob. And these knobs, as they age, they're plastic, and the D section that goes over this shaft eventually cracks and breaks. We've been successful repairing them, and you can do this yourself at home. If you've got one that's cracked, and you take it off of the shaft there, and that's probably not hard to do because typically they'll fall off if they're loose enough. You can, with some toothpicks stuck into the rim around the knob, create enough pressure to close that D section. And picture this. Yeah, it's like a D. Close it up enough, and then pour epoxy carefully around the cavity, including leaving the toothpicks in because it's extra reinforcement. And what you'll end up with is something that will continue to operate this shaft or this knob. But what happens is sometimes it gets so bad that the plastic pieces fall out, they're missing, or the knob is completely absent and missing. We have knobs. They're not the original replicas of the what the knob looked like in when the car was released, but it's close enough. And it has a screw setting with a brass threaded portion, so you're not going to be breaking plastic or losing your knob anymore. And in this particular case, this is VIN number 145, which is currently on Bring a Trailer. It's going to finish bidding here today at 11:30 in a half an hour. And what we plan to do is bring this live on our podcast here and encourage people to buy this car. Get some extra visibility.
I completely agree. I'm looking at the car right now on my computer. The price has jumped since this morning.
Where's it at now?
It's at $88,420.
Wow. Okay, things are coming back then.
So things are this one is at least this one is coming back, and this is a better price than I've seen on some recent ones.
Oh, completely. Now, this is a 6,000-mile car. It was purchased new by the seller, and it has been in storage for the last decade, so it hasn't seen a lot of road time. It is twilight blue. It has the original 53 kW battery pack. And other than that, it looks like it's in very nice condition. You can see about 150 pictures on Bring a Trailer. And at 88,000, we hope this is a recovery.
I hope so. I hope to see the price go even higher than that. What was the price at first early this morning?
Yesterday it was a 69,420. It sat at about 40, which is normal. You know, smart money doesn't bid during the auction. They bid at the final, at the
Yeah.
close of auction. But this morning it was at 71,400 or something like that. So I figured this one might go in the mid 70s, which is about where the Bring a Trailer Roadsters have been selling. But at 88, somebody badly wants this Roadster, so that's a good sign.
Well, there's a potential of two somebodies that are wanting this Roadster at this point, because that's a good price. We're happy to see that. We'll keep watch on the pricing, and as it gets close, we might even put the auction up on the screen behind us.
Yep, that would be cool. Now, we might as well get into the what's happening to Roadster pricing portion of our discussion here. And we currently have on the Roadster matchmaking site 44 Roadsters for sale. Some of them have been out there a while, so that number may seem a bit higher skewed. But, owners don't typically want to dump their cars unless they're in a hurry to sell. And we've got some that are, at 120, 130,000, and some collectible cars that may even be over $1 million. The cars are just out there for play, waiting for the right potential buyer to come along.
Yes, and I like that term. There are some owners out there that are just saying, hey, if somebody comes along and wants to give me their suitcase full of cash and they're willing to meet my price, I'll sell.
Yeah. Or they want to take a very rare car off the market. One of the ones for sale on our site is the last production Roadster ever built. Not the final 5. Those came after that.
Okay.
And again, this is not a car that you're going to be able to replace at any point or find a few of to, in case you miss it.
Mm-hmm.
So the feeling is there will be collectors that are going to be interested in these types of cars. So 44 out there currently. We have 3 more that are coming up for sale. One will be a lightning green. It's a 2010. It is a San Diego car. In our service center, however. Mm-hmm. By the way, on the Roadster matchmaking site, if the car is physically here at our service center, there will be a little icon in the upper left-hand corner. The reason that may be important to you is if you're trying to buy a Roadster and you want to experience it and test drive it, you can come to Gruber Motor Company and drive at least a half a dozen or more cars that are for sale here. Actually, there are going to be about 9 now, I think.
Okay.
And we had someone fly in from Colorado just last week. And after driving one of the cars was sold and said, that's the car I want. And the deal, well, you're doing escrow on it right now.
Oh, these guys were the 2 nicest guys that I have dealt with yet in escrow. And that's saying a lot because I deal with some really great people. Mm-hmm. But they made it so easy. It's already done.
So seamless, yes.
It was so seamless.
So the advantage is if you want to sample some Roadsters, rather than flying all over the country to try a bunch, you can come to our service center, and the owners typically have given permission for the potential buyers to test drive these cars. Now, how is insurance handled? How are the plates handled? Oftentimes, the cars that come here may have expired plates by the time they're repaired. And in our case, we're a vehicle dealer. So we put dealer plates on it. The insurance carries over, yep. And you can safely take these cars on the road to test drive them. So we recommend if you're interested in a Roadster, go to our Roadster matchmaking site, look at that icon in the upper left-hand corner, and those are the cars that are here that you can actually kick the tires on. So we've got a lightning green 2010 coming available. We've got a black 2008 from Louisiana that is here that will be for sale. And we've got a black on black 2010 that potentially is becoming available as well. This is a really sharp car. It's completely black. It's got powder-coated wheels that are like a metallic black. And, anybody that's into the black vibe, yeah, this might be just the car for them. So anyway, Roadster matchmaking, it's on our website, Gruber Motors. Now, we've got a customer in the UK that is trying to sell an Arctic White
Mm-hmm.
Tesla Roadster. It's a mint car, and he's having some difficulty. He has it listed on our matchmaking site. If you want to see the pictures, just go to matchmaking and you can see that. And he posted on another Facebook site, says, my car's not selling. What can I do? Well, one of the recommendations was what we need to do is all get together and all pull the cars off the internet to create some scarcity. So if we have 44 clients that are willing to pull the cars off of the Roadster matchmaking site and then just sell one at a time, like this recommendation, then we might be able to create enough scarcity where the prices come back up.
Yeah, but I don't know that even though it's a small scale, that speaks an awful lot to the kind of price collusion type of things that the federal government would frown on.
Okay. All right.
Plus, you've got 44 people who, just based on the fact that they produce Roadsters, I'm going to profile them a little bit and say they're probably leaders in their business or in the life that they've led, and have gotten to a point financially where they can afford to buy a luxury sports car. It's a car that you're going to put 6,000 miles on in 6 years and then let it set for 10 years. That's a luxury. And you have it because you want it, not because it needs to be any kind of a daily driver. Those people are used to having their way. You're going to convince all 44 of them that they're going to need to take their car off the market. Who's going to be number 44?
Right. Yeah. And who's going to be patient?
Who's going to be patient enough to be number 44 on that list? And it's not just that 44, it's anybody who comes after that 44 and says, well, there's no cars on the market. I think I want to sell my car.
Well, the other problem we have is we've been advertising these cars now, all 44 of them, for some time, 47 here soon. The potential buyers are going to remember where those cars are or what the source of those cars is. Yeah. And although it's a noble suggestion, and yes, creating scarcity is about retrieving cars and not making them available, but I'm just not sure that we can get the kind of cooperation necessary to pull that one off.
That's my fear, is that I just don't think we'd get the cooperation, regardless of any legal issues. I just don't think that you would get that many people to begin to cooperate. It's a wonderful, idealistic type of idea, but not one that I think would work.
And then we also have to go back to the reasons that there is such a glut of Tesla Roadsters currently. And we can't ignore that. Many of the owners that bought the car 16 years ago were using disposable income. They were affluent, as you point out. They may have already been retired and said, the company's on the verge of bankruptcy. If they fold, okay, but I'll throw $100K at them or more and see if I get something, right? It was play money, basically.
Yeah.
Well, those same people now, 16 years later, oftentimes have had knee surgeries, hip surgeries. Sometimes the widows are selling the cars. And that's been our experience. It's usually a sad tale as to why these cars are being sold. After 16 years, maybe it's lost its luster. It wouldn't happen for me. I love the Tesla Roadster, There's still a lot of fun for me.
Well, but you're exactly right. Somebody who has the money, okay, I put $100,000 down, and for that $100,000, I can get what at the time is the fastest car on the market, and I don't have to spend $1 million. I can do it for $100,000 or $150,000. I'll do that. That sounds like a lot of fun.
And then you have service limitations. We can't ignore that. I mean, Tesla has done a good job of attempting to continue Tesla Roadster support, but they have restricted the number of service centers that you can take one to. So if you're hundreds of miles from a service center and you're used to be able to just simply drive 15 miles down the road to your service center to get your Roadster repaired, that tends to lose its luster as well. How many people want to ship their car cross-country to a company like us? Transport costs since COVID have gone into orbit. They've tripled from what we used to be able to get charged for transport for vehicles. And then the final thing is the valuation on Roadsters is down. Remember 2 years ago, $120,000, $130,000 wasn't unrealistic for a non-pedigreed functioning Roadster.
Right.
Today, bring a trailer, 70,000, 75,000. Today, we've got an anomaly. We finally got an $88,000 Roadster that may be selling, and we'll find out why. Was it the low mileage that attracted them? You know.
That's a great question, and I still don't think of a Roadster with a low VIN, but not a pedigreed low VIN. And yes, it has low mileage, but not as much as there are many more cars that are more pedigreed and have lower mileage.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy for this owner. I think they're going to be happy to have it sold.
And for those of you just tuning in, we're going to make the auction live here in about 15 minutes. What's your schedule say? When is the bidding?
21 minutes, exactly.
21 minutes, okay. All right, so it'll still be within the podcast time. We've got a comment here, Sammy Kamal. Says, let's go Lucid, family. Woohoo. Goonies never say die. Sammy is a Lucid fan, no doubt about that.
Thanks for joining us, Sammy. Love having you on this week.
And then the Highlander has one. He says he loves his Lucid. And Sweet Nothings is saying Massachusetts. So there's a picture we can throw up here, Jesse. The earlier question was, how is that Lucid charging that Roadster? Well, if you go to Lucid Charge-3, I forgot I took some of the pictures that were posted, and there you'll be able to see how the what kind of a charge cable is being used to charge that Roadster. And there is a CAN product involved. It looks like a CAN Junior with a J1772 plug there.
Okay, so it's a J1772 on either side, it looks like, because I've seen pictures on the picture on the front.
You know, that almost looks like a NAX plug, too. You know, those of you watching, please weigh in. It could be a non-NAX issue, NAX-type plug.
It looks like NAX to me.
It does look like NAX, yeah. That rounded portion there around the CAN Junior or CAN Senior. So if anybody has expertise, that's what these podcasts are for. We'll ask you to chime in and see if you can shed some light on this particular charging method. On the other side, of course, I think they have a J1772. Sammy Kamal says, I appreciate you guys. We appreciate you too, Sammy, all
Likewise.
of our audience. Yes. All right, let's see what else we've got here. Oh, by the way, on that car that's bidding today, we talked about that knob earlier. It doesn't mean that the car is inferior in any way. That's a common failure point. And what we've offered is whoever the successful bidder is, we're going to send you a knob for free, a replacement knob. So let us know when you pull the trigger on that car and who the successful bidder is. All right. Joseph Lind from Sweden posted, and we've got a picture here that we can throw up, Jess. It is the, find it here. And I'm going to show you the area that he lives in. It's VIN 842-1. Let's start with that. This is a very proud Thunder Gray Roadster owner that just bought one in Sweden. And what he says on the Tesla Roadster Owners Group site is, on Facebook, thanks for letting me join the group, Pete. Have just been to Stora Höga. It's a little place on the west coast of Sweden, and met a car transport. Had my first Roadster trip to Orust. It's an island on the west coast where the car will now live. All tips and good advice are welcome, and if there's any more Swedish Roadster owners in the group, I would be grateful for the contact. The next image we can throw up, Jess, is 842-2. So this is VIN 842. And you know what? I'm envious. This is a cool looking garage. Almost looks like it has a loft there. And this is where the car apparently will be residing. And then we have some pictures of Orust. Try Orust-1, Jesse. Marco Nolte actually chimed in and said, I've been there. He said it's a beautiful part of Sweden on the west coast, the Atlantic Ocean. And this is what the buildings and the housing looks like there. It's definitely a coastal village, it looks like.
Wow.
And a fishing village. There's another one, Orust-3. And Marco was saying that driving a Roadster on this island would be a load of fun because of all the scenery, and I'm sure they've got some cool roads there. So that's where this car is going to live. And his request for any tips and good advice is already happening. That's what these Facebook sites are for. They're for the owners that want to share ideas, provide inputs like the picture behind us for any events that they were at, including Roadsters. And then the final part is, are there any more Swedish Roadster owners in the group? And one chimed in and said, yes, I am also in Sweden. So it looks like the community is starting to build in Sweden.
Oh, fantastic.
All right, I think that's all the Orist pictures that we have. The Tesla Roadster group that I've been mentioning, Tesla Roadster Owners Group, it was a group that was started by Dr. Ian Taras many years ago. And we became involved because of all the Roadster activity and eventually moved to a moderator level and then became an admin on that site as well. Dr. Taras has removed himself from the site eventually. And so at this point, we've got some moderators and some admins. David Pilo is one of them, for example. Tony Williams is a moderator. And we've got a couple of others. We keep the site fairly clean and free of spam and free of advertisement. But most recently, we've decided to begin to let other people in that aren't necessarily Roadster owners. And the exception is if you are a Tesla employee or an ex-Tesla employee. And the strategy there is they have so much to share. You know, many of them were there during the formative years of Tesla, the Tesla evolution. One of my friends in California actually is a 14-year supply chain veteran, and he has all kinds of inside information about how the Tesla Roadster evolved while the days at Hethel.
Oh, wow. That'd be fascinating, and I'm sure he has some wonderful stories.
So for those of you that are interested, feel free to join. Usually we require a Tesla Roadster VIN to be entered, but in this case, if you tell us that you're a Tesla employee, either present or past, we will grant you membership to the site and hope that you can contribute and join the community. All right. We posted yet another Roadster that was bricked and came in at 86 volts string voltage. Now, let me explain. There's the big 1,000-pound battery pack, which is a 400-volt battery pack. And when these things get bricked, they reach a low-level state of charge. They can no longer accept the charge. The decline continues until you pull the service plug. And if you don't pull the service plug, it can eventually reach 0 volts, which at that point in time, all kinds of chemical reactions take place inside the cells, and the pack is no longer recoverable. Well, we have been recovering these Tesla Roadster packs since 2016 or so. And the lowest one we had came in at 27 volts, and it was a recovery. This particular Roadster got bricked while the owner was on vacation, and it took about 3 weeks or so for it to eventually arrive at our service center. It came in at 86 volts DC. Again, the full charge packs are usually closer to 400 volts. What we do immediately once it comes in is put it on life support, and we start feeding the pack electrons or DC voltage. And then we start the level 1 recovery, which starts to bring the pack back up. And once we get above 330 volts, the bricks are continuously checked for their voltage levels. Then we realize at 330 that we can wake up the car and we can activate the charge port door again. And this particular set of pictures that we posted on Facebook showed the car charging. The amber glow was there, and within 3 or 4 days or so, it actually reached that point, and we were then able to make the car fully operational again. This is, and then the car charged 161 miles, which established a new baseline.
That's a pretty good baseline too.
It is. And I think that the CAC, I don't have it here, but it was fairly high as well. So someone chimed in on the Roadster Facebook site and said, well, we don't charge anything that is under 150 volt string voltage, and definitely not below 100. And anyway, the implication was that there's an inherent danger here of some type. And, granted, this is a company that has been working on a lot of sexy cars,
Sure.
working on the S's and X's and but not a lot of Roadster experience. So what I pointed out was we've been recovering Roadster battery packs for many years now. String voltages below 100 volts are not uncommon. One we recovered had reached 27 volts and came back years ago and is still running. By the way, we have a VIN here that has been here for 4 years that came in with a low state of charge that is being stored here. It is still fully operational after that recovery 4 years ago. So low voltage, as I'm pointing out here, is not the issue. It is any Roadster that's subjected to low state of charge, but it's not the string voltage decline during the bricked state. It's how much time has gone by that it has spent at a low state of charge. And the string voltage, by the way, with a Roadster, before we even let them come in, is no mystery, because we ask for a log file, and we have a log file parsing program. And that program tells us everything that's going on underneath the hood in the car and in that battery pack. And it will tell us what the state of charge is, what the string voltage is. And then we make a determination whether we can allow it to come in, whether it's worthy and it can be recovered.
This reminds me a lot of what our field service technicians will do in the UPS space with Gruber Power Services. If a UPS goes into alarm, a battery alarm, it's because a lot of times their batteries have, they've got a low voltage on their batteries. Going out and checking the strength of a battery is not just about going out and measuring voltage. It's about going out, and in the UPS world, it's about measuring either the resistance or the capacitance of the battery. And when a battery's capacitance goes down, which means its resistance goes up, it becomes a resistive cell in that string. It needs to be replaced. It's the same thing here. Just because you have low voltage across your string does not mean that every battery in that string has automatically gone bad.
And it's how much time it is spent at that low voltage, because it is true that the cells will go through a destructive chemical process if enough time has gone by.
Yeah, that process might start it's dendrites, I think is what they call it, that come in and eventually short the battery. Yeah, that happens, but it doesn't happen instantly.
So one of the things that has given us expertise in these Roadsters is not just the amount of years that we've been doing this, 10 years actually, but what evolved our brick Roadster intellectual property was rebuilding and reverse engineering the original Tesla Roadster service center recovery chargers. We were commissioned years ago to put these back in play because Tesla at one point had decided that they want to do recoveries again at the service center level, but these things have been shipped around, beat up, broken. They had broken circuit boards, for example. They had old electrolytic capacitors in them, and the cable harnesses had been compromised from years of use, loose connections, all of that. So we received a couple of these, and we started a reverse engineering process. Tesla was kind enough to give us some schematics and some drawings. Yes, Jesse.
Do you need an image? I'm going to step out for just a sec.
No, I think we're good right now.
Okay.
Thank you. So they were kind enough to give us some information, but we had to do quite a bit of reverse engineering and redesign on these. And we even went as far as diving into the firmware and decoding that. So after we mapped out everything, we realized that some of the design characteristics in these recovery chargers were not robust enough. So we improved the design, updated the electronics, ruggedized the units, and then we found out that the limit thresholds were not aggressive enough. We continued then with our own testing on both our cars and on the testers, and we came up with a more real-life recovery window. and level, which includes string voltage levels and how the state of charge timelines impacted recovery. At this point, Tesla is no longer doing recoveries at the service center level. So if you have a brick Roadster, sending it to the service center will result in one recommendation, and that is change your battery pack for $45,000. What a company like us is able to do is actually repair and recover that battery pack within a certain window of opportunity. And we've been doing this for many years. We keep a CRM system. These days, we're doing one of these a week, and the cars do not come back. They continue to operate in the field, and eventually, the Tesla Roadster batteries are going to go end of life. 16 years is a long time. And at that point in time, what we'll probably see is the same type of degradation, end-of-life degradation, that we're seeing in the 2016 packs, which was the R80 packs or the 80 kW packs that Tesla briefly manufactured as a replacement pack, but were using cells that were didn't have the lifespan, in other words, of the legacy pack. The short story on that is we've got legacy packs going on 16 years, still going strong, and we've got 2016 packs that have impedance problems, that are losing power, that are going end of life.
Yeah, those packs with the impedance packs with the impedance problems are truly unfixable packs.
Yeah,
because the batteries do not exhibit any symptoms until you try to put a load on them.
Right. And it's all the cells that are having the problem, unlike the problems that you have in a Tesla Roadster, which is after a short-term brick type episode, you will have a resistive cell that needs to be excised that won't come back up to charge. And by the way, it's typically one cell. It's not multiple cells.
Yeah.
Now, if it's been a year bricked, you're going to have a whole bunch of resistive cells. There's no doubt about that. The other thing that you end up with is, even if the car hasn't been bricked, in a Tesla Roadster, occasionally you get an aberration, one cell that goes resistive out of 6,831. And the challenge then becomes finding it, taking it out of circuit, and the car continues to run.
Exactly. Now, Michael Aldea has a couple of really good points that I wanted to make sure we highlight too. CAC, calculated in power capacity, is calculated after a few charge and discharge cycles.
Yes.
The range given after just a recovery charge might not be correct.
So the first pass CAC, Michael, you're absolutely correct. And that's one of the reasons, sometimes to the annoyance of customers who find out, well, my car's running again. Why don't you just send it back? We go through alternate charge-discharge cycles, sometimes even 3 weeks or so, to balance all of the bricks and then get that CAC accurate again.
Yeah,
and
make sure that you got a good new baseline. He also says, I know the engineer that designed the recovery charger. He works at Lunar Energy now.
So do I, Michael, and a great guy. He was an enormous amount of help. In fact, he had, from memory, information that Tesla didn't have anymore about these recovery chargers.
Oh, that's fascinating.
And it is a sophisticated, elegant piece of equipment that is quite successful. And what it was designed to do was, unlike people like us that go in and actually open up the pack, engineer, put stuff in the bunker, and, charge directly into charge points, this recovery charger had a number of safety items attached to it. Bus and tag lockout type functions, so that no voltage would ever be exposed. And lots of interlock functions. And it was really the genius and design of this engineer that you talk about. And he probably doesn't want us mentioning his name, so I won't do it at this point.
Fantastic. Hey, at this point, we probably should bring up that Bring a Trailer auction. We're at 3 minutes.
Let's do it.
It's gone. I'm starting to see the prices tick.
Okay, it's still going up from 88.
Going up. Yeah.
Okay.
So I saw it go 88 from 88,420 to 88,920. Now it's at 90,420.
Okay.
There we go. 2 minutes 45 seconds. This is kind of cool to see.
It is. And our goal here, folks, is to help drive the Roadster prices back up to where they should be. And what typically happens is, if there are any additional bidders, it gets extended. So we may run past the time here, but we've got about 26 minutes before this podcast ends, so we may be able to see this thing actually close.
Yes.
All right, so getting back a moment to the Tesla Roadster battery pack recovery that we do. In a case like this, oh, I forgot, we got a call yesterday, just before I was going home, actually, a call came to me. We got a call from a car storage facility that has a Tesla Roadster, and they said, we need to buy a 12-volt battery. The car's dead. I said, what's the VIN? The VIN indicated it was a 1.5 Roadster. I said, you don't have a 12-volt battery in there. What are the symptoms? It turns out it's a hard brick Roadster. Nothing lights up. It's completely dead.
Oh, boy.
So I explained to them what was going on. And again, in a case like this, where the timelines, the time of death is murky, we don't want to just simply bring a car in here and then have it sit. We request a log file. We send them instructions how to wake up to 12 volts, how to get their 4 gig memory stick, how to email that to us. And then we assess whether this is a recovery candidate. And if it is, then the car is allowed to come here. So anyway, that's the typical process with these cars. And unfortunately, it is one of the Roadster design issues. They do get bricked, unlike the later version cars where you have contactors that open up and prevent that from happening.
It happens. You see we're at 100,000 now?
We are.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Okay.
Mandy M is our current bidder.
All right. 100,000 folks on a Bring a Trailer Roadster auction.
Let's see if the Nick 94957 has been bidding, and he's been very interested. Okay, he just upped it again.
Okay. We'll keep you updated here, and we'll see if we can get this this listing to go even higher. We're into 6 figures already.
Yes,
I haven't seen that in a while for a non-pedigree. This has been 145. It's not a signature car.
Yeah,
but this is
not a
low
signature
mileage,
100.
though.
It has low mileage, which is good. It happens to be my favorite color. I still love the Twilight Blue probably more than any others, and the Twilight Blue with the saddle tan leather seats is just stunning. And this particular car is that.
Mm-hmm. So let's continue then. While the bidding is going on, we'll feel free to interrupt at any point if something exciting's happening.
Okay, I'm keeping a watch on it.
All
We're
right.
up to 105,000 now. So.
105.
Yep.
Wow. We've got 2
Wait.
people that want this car.
It resets for 2 minutes every time someone bids. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
It is now resetting to 2 minutes every time someone bids.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So getting back to brick Roadsters, sometimes the owners of hard brick Roadsters, now these are the ones that we say there's no point in sending them here because you're going to need a replacement battery pack. You can get that at your local Tesla service center. They send the cars here anyway to await a Tesla replacement pack, which we then order for them. And the reason for this is oftentimes a bricking is the result of not just negligence, in other words, not charging it, but it's the result of an electronics failure in the PEM. Since the Tesla solution for a complete PEM replacement is $8,500, and so after the pack replacement, so that's $45,000 plus $8,500 plus whatever maintenance would need to be done or would cause the problem. Customers often send them to us because the costs are lower here for that type of service. We not only repair or we don't replace the PEM, we repair it and then rebuild it on top of that.
Right.
So all the wear components are replaced. And if there's labor involved in the repair of a Roadster, because that's what caused the pack to brick in the first place, again, we're more reasonable than the Tesla Service Center.
Yeah, and love seeing how Tempe's Tesla Service Center will work with us and with the customer now. They're on more than one occasion. They have called us after the replacement comes in. They say, okay, there's something going on here because it won't charge properly. Ms. Customer or Mr. Customer, you want us to try to take care of it? Or since it came through Gruber to you, do you want us to just send this back to Gruber and have them take care of it?
Correct. And then one final version is we have a storage facility, and it's coming online. We're going to talk about that here shortly. Sometimes customers don't want the garage furniture, a dead car in their garage, and they want
Right.
it stored somewhere. So that's another compelling reason at times to take a dead, bricked, hard brick Roadster and send it to us and have the battery swap done here at the Tempe Service Center.
Yep.
And then once the pack swap is done, There are a number of deferred maintenance items that the cars often need. Your shocks are probably shot on a 2008, and your suspension components, especially if you've got mileage on it. So we do a complete upgrade to the car and give you a menu, basically, just like when you go to the restaurant, of things that you can order to take your car to the next level after that big battery pack replacement. Where are we at so far?
We had 1 second left, and DBX Life came in and bid 110,000 on it. Well, we're back up to 2 minutes.
Really?
It says 110, or was that what you said?
Yeah, it just went to 110, and the counter was down below 5 seconds. So somebody really, truly tried to come in and snipe it.
Yeah, they were bid sniping. Yeah,
They're really trying to bid snipe.
we're going to have a very happy seller today.
Yes, we sure are. And this person, DBX Life, had last bid at 88,920. So they've
See
been
this?
watching it.
Wow, that was at the buzzer. My God, that was down to the wire.
5 seconds. Yeah, sometimes you miss it. I used to do that on eBay, and if my computer got slow, poof, it's gone.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'm not convinced that they're done bidding yet. I think there's 3 people at least that are looking at this one.
Very nice. So we got a few questions here. Highlander, please don't forget our commercial. We're going to do that. Michael Aldea. By the way, Michael is a long-standing Tesla employee, was very much involved in the ESS battery pack on the Roadster, is one of the gurus, if not the guru. But he says, one of my first field repairs and another service center in SoCal, I had a backup power supply, brick sheets 1 and 2. Good. Okay. Yeah, that's how the 1.5s got their 12 volts with the backup power supply.
That's right. They
No 12-volt battery.
yeah, they is it the APS that supplies the 12 volts?
Yep.
Wait a minute, we're at 20 seconds.
20 seconds to go. Okay, where's the price at now?
Still
at
at 110.
110.
At 110. All right, countdown starts.
I don't think it's done yet, personally. I would not be surprised if Nick comes back in and tries to snipe it at the very last second. Nope. Sold to DXB Life for $110,000.
110,000. Well, DXB Life, congratulations. You have a wonderful Roadster on your hands, and our offer stands. Contact us at Gruber Motors, and we'll get you a free dimmer knob for that car. So this is very encouraging. We are finally beginning to, at least with one Roadster, see a bring a trailer price that is exciting again.
You know, Texas Stable on Bring a Trailer mentioned this. It's still a good buy, even at this price.
Yeah, it's like who was the host of the Tonight Show? Not Johnny Carson.
Jay Leno.
Jay Leno. Yeah, when he was accused of buying a car at a price that others thought was too high, he said, "Nah, I just bought it too early."
Yeah.
And I think this is the philosophy that this particular buyer is using.
Yeah.
Got some images to pop up here, Jesse. This is called Post-Fire-0. And we're getting close to opening a facility, 8,200 square feet of exotic car storage dedicated to Tesla Roadsters. And this is the LLC. It's EV Preserve, electric car storage. And the reasons for this are numerous. You know, the traditional exotic car storage places are experts on the ICE engine cars, but occasionally there's a hiccup and they sputter a bit when it comes to a Tesla Roadster.
Mm-hmm.
The next image here will show the first Roadster in this new facility that just got an epoxy floor. The infrastructure is not completed yet, but the insulation is in. It's being cabled right now for low voltage cabling. And there we have the facility. It has 24 tons of air conditioning. That's a lot in an 8,200 square foot building.
Yeah.
It will be temperature controlled. It will have 24/7 security. It has a sprinkler system that runs the entire building. It was an upgrade that was done to this building.
Mm-hmm.
The insulation in the walls is not only 5/8 drywall, but we've got R19 insulation behind that, and then a block wall. In the ceiling, we've got R39 insulation with scrim sheets and then foam on top of that. What's remarkable is when it's warm outside and we close the building up, the following morning, it has the same temperature that it did the afternoon before inside the building, whether it's hot or cold outside or whatever the nighttime temperature has shifted to.
When you say
So it retains.
warm outside, it's about to be like 150.
It is.
But,
Well, yeah, a bit of an exaggeration, but 15 we'll go with.
Well, but it's when it was 95 outside and then 65 in the morning, you're saying this building was 75 in the afternoon, and then the following morning was still 75 degrees.
Correct. It holds whatever temperature, whatever ambient. And so this is going to be included with 2 post lifts, 3-tier. And it has a capacity for 80 cars. It will be dedicated to EVs, Roadsters. There will be umbilical cords from the ceiling charging each car, OVMS units in every single car reporting to a control center, and we'll show you pictures of that as this progresses, with flat screens and 24/7 type monitoring. The same data that's being fed to the control center, keeping an eye on the condition of the cars, is being relayed to the customer's cell phones if they choose. So there will always be telemetry going back and forth between the car and either our control center or the customer. And we have collectors who are already storing collectible Roadsters here. It will be fully monitored again, 24/7. I guess we've run through all of this. And, the best part is it's 300 feet from the Gruber Motor Company Service Center. So if there are any issues, the car can easily be driven over to the service center for whatever it needs.
I mean, the absolute worst case, the car, if heaven forbid, the car gets bricked over a weekend, grab 2 of the mechanics and they push the car back.
Yeah. And we have never had a Roadster in our care and keeping get bricked. Let's be
That's
real
right.
clear about that,
That's
because
right.
we are highly attuned to these cars' needs, and they are unique.
Especially with the OVMS in place, that'll never happen.
Yep. The Tesla Takeover event, it's 3 weeks away in Europe, May 24th, 25th, and 26th. And we're flying out the 21st. And I will be there. We're going to have one of our social media members there. We're going to do a live podcast from there. So the podcast we did this morning will actually be me there on a Zoom call, and
Yes,
you guys in the
I
studio.
believe I'll be here, and I think Jesse will be here in studio. We're talking about doing that Arizona time, Saturday morning on the 25th. That would be mid-afternoon to early evening, where you're going to be at the at the rally. Should be just a lot of fun, and I'll be green with envy because I'll see you in all the green.
In the Alps, by the way. It's in Flachau, Austria. And it is a wonderful way to get the Tesla community, not just Roadsters, by the way, together. The first event in Europe, coming from a number of different countries, a number of different Tesla clubs. And it's very encouraging to see the Europeans taking the EV revolution this seriously. There will be 1,000 cars there, they claim. Of course, a lot more people than that, because there are usually more than one occupant in a car.
Yep.
And it'll be workshops, a wide array of speakers, live music, light shows, good beer. Oh, they don't have that in here. And so much more, they say.
That's part of the so much more, I think.
Yes, I think so. But they say most importantly, it's an opportunity to bring the Tesla community together all in one place and make it more of a global experience. Remember, Germany has a gigafactory now, and it's time to get Europe, electrified and get those fossil fuel burners off the car, especially where this is located, which is in the middle of the Alps, where you have alpine, grassland and
Right.
mountain peaks and clean air and alpine lakes. That kind of environment deserves to be protected from the onslaught of fossil fuel burners.
Absolutely. We have a couple comments here. I want to respond to Highlander. He's talked about, are we going to do our commercial? So
right,
let's
go for it.
talk about this just real quick. This one is a smooth leather. I'm showing you. We've had our more pebbled leathers. This is a smooth leather. They're all full grain cowhides. We use them to store our sunglasses in. I know people haven't asked us in a few weeks, knock on wood, about what we do with our sunglasses and why we wear them, and are we aliens and all that kind of fun
Right.
stuff. When we're not in here, the sunglasses are in one of these. They'll never scratch even the plastic lenses because it is a full grain leather hide. These are $79.95. Code Aaron will get you 10% off. And has code CAS been put in yet?
It has not.
Not yet.
Okay. Code Aaron, by the way, Aaron Lambert is one of our social media members. He got married, and he's on his honeymoon right now. So he is not here to do the commercial, which is normally done. And then Cass is recovering from a motorcycle accident. She's doing well, but she's not quite back at work yet. So in the meantime, we've got a skeleton crew here, and we are managing. Michael Aldea says, talking about, again, the Utesa Roadster ESS pack. He says, yes, the APS, or the auxiliary power source, which is the DC to DC converter, supplied the 12 volts in the ESS pack. If that failed, then the BPS, the backup power supply, would kick in and supply emergency power to things like door switches, but would cause an imbalance in the pack. That was a last-minute design change.
Okay.
And that's why they stopped using that.
Yeah, he goes on to say it was a poor design and it was changed on the 2.0 Roadster, if I remember correctly.
It was. And then they said, we really need a 12-volt battery to keep this thing functioning properly, but where are we going to put it? So, not considering service, they said, let's put it underneath the headlight in the front right fender behind the fender skirt. And that's where the battery is currently. And it's a little motorcycle battery. It's 12 volts, 7 amp hour. And for those of you that are still struggling with trying to get that replaced every couple years or so, because remember, 12-volt batteries don't last forever.
Right.
We have two options for you. One is you can get a better battery, which is a 12-volt, 12 amp hour battery made for electronics and UPSs, critical power, that fits in that same holder. Or you can go a step further, which is relocate that battery into your trunk. And now, instead of spending $600-700 at a Tesla service center to get your battery replaced underneath that cowl in the front there, you simply do it yourself. You've got a meter on the little box. There's a utility box. You click it open, 2 fast-on tabs, slide in a new battery, and 5 minutes later, you've replaced your battery for about $40 or so.
And with that meter right there, all you do is you open your trunk, you check the voltage on the battery. If it's showing low, you immediately know if you need to replace it or not.
Right. Victor Atlasman from New NXU, folks. By the way, that video that we did with you and Mark Hanchett is doing extraordinarily well. I think it's up to, close to 100,000 views or something like that. But he's saying hi. Good to see you. Bright lights in the studio, absolutely. He was here in our studio, and he also had to wear sunglasses, if I recall correctly.
I wasn't here when he was here in the studio, so
right.
I don't remember.
That's right.
But I've seen I've seen the video, and if I remember right, he has sunglasses on.
Victor, you're local. We're going to be at the football stadium this weekend. There is a big EV event there. We're going to have Tesla Roadster VIN 711 there, and we're going to be at the Alligator booth, which is a company that makes the wheel protectors so that your wife doesn't so that you don't curb rash your wheels. I have to insert that for my wife because she sometimes watches these, and I'll get hell tonight for that, I'm sure.
Well, sure, but you and I both know, even if the wife does it, you've done it.
Yeah, okay, all right. Yeah, it's true. I did do that one time on my Kragers, and it hurt. Oh my God! It was. I was distraught for weeks.
Oh yeah.
Highlander, he said, "Code cast now, code now." Okay.
Yeah, he meant code cast.
Yes. All right.
Now, Highlander, if you'll buy one of these, we'll make sure we get that code cast right in. Highlander also said the battery placement sounds identical to my old Chrysler Sebring convertible.
Same thing happened to my 2008 ACR Viper. The 12-volt battery went bad. When I started looking up where is this thing, it was buried underneath the rear trunk, and you had to take out a bunch of carpet and panels and to get to it. So I think the manufacturers may sometimes consider the 12-volt battery to be unnecessary, and then when they finally figure out it is, then they try to squeeze it somewhere. Do you remember the old days, guys? The muscle cars used to be able to pop your hood, and to the right or left was a tray, and you had your 12-volt battery there, and then a 9/16 wrench used to take, or maybe half-inch, used to take off those terminals, and you could easily replace that battery yourself.
Super easy to do. And you had room in your engine compartment to get your hands in there to pick up the battery.
If it was a 6-cylinder, you could stand inside the engine compartment.
Oh, yeah.
Like the slant sixes. I
Oh,
remember
yeah,
that.
absolutely.
Yeah. All right, we're coming to the close of the Tesla Roadster podcast here. Would like to thank everybody for joining us. And again, if you have any news items that you'd like us to share on these podcasts, feel free to email them to us at ev@gruber.com. And our goal is to continue to promote Tesla Roadsters. And like you noticed today, we're also interested in getting the resale prices on Roadsters up. What did it sell for?
110,000.
110,000. A Roadster just sold, non-pedigreed, VIN 145, low mileage, 6,000 miles, for $110,000. We haven't seen that in, I think, a couple of years or so.
I think it's been since the beginning of 2022.
Yep, exactly.
So thank you guys so much for coming. We look forward to seeing you this next week. The Gruber Power Hour is going to be on Friday. The communications podcast is tomorrow, and then we'll be here next Tuesday.
Communications is Thursday. Tomorrow is
I'm
AI.
sorry, that's right.
Yep.
AI is tomorrow. Communications is Thursday.
Thanks for joining us. See you next week.